Alright, my heater's just shutting off on me and I have my first error code 8. The flame is extinguished. Indicator lights flash. Check whether the oil circuit has air or wax blockage, resulting in poor oil supply. What? And this is why it's good to have more than one source of heat. 1, 2, 3. I don't have a fire going because last night I noticed that every time I opened the wood stove door it was smoking quite a bit. So I have some creosote buildup in my pipe that I need to clean out today. Wanted to make sure the fire was completely out before I go ahead and do that, of course. So that's why I had the diesel heater running, but I'm not super impressed that I already have an error code, and this is probably only the 3rd day that I've maybe used that heater. So, the buddy heater it is. Thank you, Mr. Heater. Anyway, yeah, it was freezing last night. Now it is 1 degree Celsius, so still quite cold. Obviously, I need heat going until I clean my pipe and everything. And that isn't reliable right now. I have no idea how to even check for that error code I received, so that should be fun. Yeah, if you can see, this is flashing. Excuse me. And this is the error code. I don't know why the first one showed nothing and this one shows. That's kind of weird, isn't it? So error code 0, error code 8. Not sure. Help! Yeah, remember when I said I had to clean my chimney pipe? This is what came out of it. This is why smoke would roll out every time the door was opened. And every time I show this stuff on a video, I always get suggestions like, you know, use really dry wood, run your wood stove really hot every now and again. Trust me when I tell you I do all of that, but for some reason, I do need to clean the chimney pipe. I would say probably, right now I'm going to say I should probably do it every 2 weeks because this is the type of shit that will cause a chimney fire. See, this is why the chimney pipe needs to get cleaned. It's just, the walls are just lined with flakes of creosote. That's pretty bad. Same thing with this elbow pipe, you see. Gotta clean that out as well. And then I've got to figure out what in the world happened with that thing. I will be YouTubing that error code for sure, trying to figure out if anybody else has had that same issue. Okay, well, we're back to the trusty old wood stove. Cleaned out the pipe. Didn't clean the glass, apparently. That's still a little dirty, but enough you can see, I guess. That's a good thing about the wood stove. They're non-mechanical, so I'm not going to get any error codes on this. It likes to tell me it needs maintenance in other ways, like smoke rolling out of the door and all of that. But I think I've mentioned before, this is a super handy thing to have. It's just a little magnetic thermometer, but it tells you, you can see right now the little red arrow is in the best combustion space. Which is great, but once you see it getting into this part right here, you need to worry because that is too hot. And that's exactly what happened when this pipe was full of creosote. It can be dirty and it can be messy, and I can't set it to a certain temperature, but with proper care and maintenance, this thing should always be somewhat reliable. This is why YouTube is such a great resource. I just watched another video where another individual had the same error, and it's because their fuel wasn't getting enough airflow, I guess. So I'm gonna try to get something through this little hole and get rid of this plastic thing here so that the fuel can breathe. and then try to get rid of that error code. So I popped these out with a pin, and it looks like there's holes going through this, so you'd think that it would be breathable, but if you look closely, there's not. This side is completely solid. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that little piece and just put this back in, put the cap back on, and give it a whirl. It doesn't look like there's a hole going through, but you can see that this is going to be breathable now. Alright, I think I see the problem. I've got this all pulled away from the housing, but it looks like the fuel was too low. I don't know if you can see with the lighting. That little silver round thing is where the diesel was getting sucked from. And obviously the fuel is too low to even enter that, so I'm thinking and hoping that was the problem. Yeah, I guess I better start checking the fuel more often. The things you learn along the way. Now that that mystery is solved, here's my next issue. The plywood around this gets quite warm, enough that it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. So even though I wrap the aluminum tape around everything, it seems to act more like it's transferring the heat than it is blocking it. So we're gonna do something about that, I guess. Alright, here I go with my crazy ideas again. I hope I remedied the problem. What I ended up doing, since before I literally just had a hole big enough for this to fit through in the plywood, I cut the space in the plywood bigger so that this pipe, I don't know what this is, aluminum? It gets really hot, so I didn't want this touching the wood at all. So right now I have two pieces of cement board, one on this side, one on the other side, kind of sandwiched. And the hole that's cut in the plywood behind it is much larger, so the wood is not actually touching this. And then I kind of put, you know, the aluminum tape around as a kind of a shield for the plywood. It's really hard to explain. But I don't know, hopefully it makes me feel a little bit more safe, because like I said before, this aluminum piece was, or the plywood rather, was pretty much touching the pipe here, and it gets really hot. So this way the wood is not touching the pipe at all. Anyway, cement board is fire resistant, I guess. It's what I have in behind the tin. Behind the wood stove, I've got cement board with some spacers just to give it a little airspace between the wood and the wood stove. So let me know what you guys think of this. I hope this is a safer bet, I guess, than, I mean, it would have to be a safer bet than just having this touch the plywood. Yeah. Looks a little ridiculous, but like I said before, this is just here for the winter, and I'm all about functionality.